guys, and welcome back to a new episode of Couch Critics. I'm Lamia.
And I'm Ruby, and today we're reviewing It Ends With Us.
Yes, the new famous
Blake Lively
movie.
and Justin Baldoni, who's also
Yeah.
the director,
Mhm.
apparently.
And also, it's the adaptation of the famous book from the Colleen Hoover. I think
Yes.
that's the writer's name,
Yeah,
right?
Colleen Hoover, right?
Yeah. So we watched the movie adaptation today.
Yeah. Did you read the book?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Not so. Unfortunately, okay.
I don't really trust TikTok when it comes to book recommendation. And for once, I decided to actually see what the hype was about when it came to this book, because like everyone was literally talking about this at a certain point. So I bought the book, and it's just I don't get it. I mean, like, I feel like the after series feel like great literature next to this book.
Okay.
It was this, like, I don't know if it's bad, or like, is it bad because I had huge expectations like when I read this book. So
Do you think the movie was better than the book?
definitely.
Okay,
Yeah,
I think that's the first time I hear that. Like, a movie is better
Yeah.
than a book.
I had such low expectations when it came to this movie, and the only reason why I was going to watch it was because Blake Lively was in it, and I am obsessed with Blake Lively. I love her so much.
Sometimes I know she's very beautiful, and I don't
Yeah.
want to sound like fruit saying I don't see it, but I get it. She's very beautiful. She's like this, how do we say it? She's like conventionally beautiful. She fits the standard,
I don't think that she does fit the standard anymore. Maybe she did, like, in the early 2000s, but like I feel like she has this charisma and this je ne sais quoi that makes her very likable and very charismatic, and you just like, she's so sweet. You just very quickly under her charm, and I love her.
This is why, but that's exactly the reason why I'm always aware, like beware when I'm watching Blake Lively's movies, because I've seen her in Gossip Girl, and I don't think anybody else would have done a better job portraying Serena van der Woodsen. But I've also watched A Simple Favor and The Age of Adeline. Adeline. And I think in both movies she had a very Serena van der Woodsen-esque kind of personality, role character, and I felt like she was fit in like a certain, like she had a certain cast that was only what she's been given. This rich, mysterious, beautiful girl, and I'm very glad that I watched this movie because I think it really broke it. It broke her her cast, and it gave her a chance to play something else. So yeah.
I totally agree. I feel like even when she tries hard enough, like you could always see Serena. But again, like we already have a Gossip Girl episode, but like it's such a phenomenon, and like you rarely see a show that blows up as Gossip Girl did, and so I feel like even for us as an audience, it's very hard for us to detach the actor from the character, because there is only so much that an actor can do to try to be different. She did try to take some risks in her career with Savages, that was very sexy and rough and very hot. And with The Age of Adeline, that was much more of a thriller, and she did a horror movie with sharks, and so she did try to do different things. And with this one, this character is very different from all the ones that she played, but I think that we love Blake Lively. I like Blake Lively so much that I cannot help but see her in all of her characters, and there were so many moments when I watched this movie where all I saw was Blake Lively. I didn't see Lily, like the character that she played, because I watched too many Blake Lively interviews, and so like
I don't think it's bad to see Blake Lively as long as it's not Serena van der Woodsen that we're seeing. You know, Blake Lively is a human. You know, I think the part of being an actor is channeling part of yourself into the role, and that's I think the beauty of acting.
Yeah.
But yeah. So do you want to talk about the movie, the story?
Yeah,
What?
sure. So, this movie is about Lily Bloom. She's an aspiring florist who moves to
Boston.
Boston after her father's death,
Yeah.
and she runs into this neurosurgeon called Kyle.
Riley.
Riley, not Kyle, of course. And so, they fall in love. He turns out to be extremely abusive physically, and he hits her. But it's this exploration of what it's like to be in an abusive relationship, and we also see her past relationship with her first love, Atlas, and she runs into him a few years after they broke up.
He
And
has a restaurant,
yeah,
and yeah,
and the rest is history.
the rest is history. Yeah, yeah. A
Yeah.
rocky history, but it is history. Yeah.
Do you know why? Did you get after watching the movie why it was called "It Ends with Us"?
Yes, and I think it was such a beautiful moment when she said it. So basically, Lily Bloom's character had an abusive father. Her father was abusive to her mother,
Mhm.
and this and when she ends up with her, like when she ends up dating Riley, and he ends up being abusive.
Abusive.
I really I saw a repetition of history, and it kind of makes sense. I think people who have abusive, and that's from what I read, but
Mhm.
like people who grew up in an abusive family tend to end up in abusive relationships.
Mhm.
And with her, when she ends up having a kid, and she says it ends with us, and this is where she ends her relationship
Yeah.
with the abusive, her abusive husband. And I think it's a great movie about generational trauma
Mhm.
and about how it's translated in different ways.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's crazy how amazing the movie turned out because the book was generally bad. I'm actually shocked, and also just to prove that the book was as bad as I say it was, they had to change a lot of things when it came to the casting. First mistake in the book was that the characters were just too young, like they were in their 20s,
Okay.
and then when the casting directors were reading the script, they were like, you can't have a neurosurgeon who's in his
20s.
20s. So there was like this huge issue about age and how like the actors had to be older. And since the book had a huge fan base, people weren't happy about Blake Lively being cast.
Okay.
They had their whole idea about who should be cast. They wanted that girl from the Winx
I
adaptation.
see. You see, I perfectly see it. First of all, she plays
Yeah.
Bloom, so I don't know if it's some sort of psychology effect where people thought because her last name is Bloom,
Mhm.
it should have been Bloom. But I also see it because when she looks like younger Blake Lively, I mean, I would have cast her as younger Blake
They
Lively.
wanted her as the main Blake Lively, as the older version of Blake Lively, because also the character in the book was a redhead, and
Okay.
there was such a big description of who she was. And that actress, Abigail, she's a natural redhead, I think. And so like people weren't happy. And then when the photos from the set started leaking, people were even more mad when they saw the
Outfit.
clothes that that Blake Lively were.
I
And
think
yeah, go ahead.
I think the costumes were a huge risk. And I also saw these
Mhm.
pictures and I was like, what are they doing? But seeing it on screen, I really liked it. It's
Okay.
not outfits I would personally wear, but it describes very well the personality of someone similar to the role of Lily Bloom.
Yeah.
Because she seems like this hippie, very kind person who doesn't care. Maybe not a hippie, but like that's.
Yeah.
She has a very Phoebe Buffet vibe from
Yeah.
Friends.
Yeah.
You know, I kept seeing Phoebe if like with her style, her hair, her attitude, minus maybe she was way less aggressive than Phoebe. But yeah, she had a very um, free spirit energy around her.
Totally.
The rings, her car, her hair again. So I think the fashion choices were very fitting. And
It was a huge risk,
yeah.
as you said. When I saw the pictures before, when they leaked, I did not like and what I saw, and I did not get why anyone would make someone as beautiful as Blake or something like that. But then when I watched the movie, like, it didn't look as bad. Like, even if she wasn't a florist and an artist and like a hippie, it still looked good
Yeah.
because it's Blake Lively, I guess.
Is it beautiful or is it the person? Is it in good
We
outfit?
wouldn't wear that, but like I totally it I totally see why they made Blake
Yeah.
Lively wear that. And also it does help us detach from that
Yeah.
Serena idea, because like if they made her wear anything nice, we would think
Serena.
of Serena.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree. I couldn't help, you mentioned Abigail from Wings, and I couldn't help but wonder while watching the movie, was Colleen Hoover a fan of Wings because there's a flower shop? The main actress's name is Lily Bloom, and
Yeah.
it's just I just saw like gardenia in the whole you know in the whole flower shop
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, it was very nostalgic for me seeing it like this.
And also the synopsis as a whole is very basic, you know, like this girl who's kind of sad, she goes to a random rooftop in like this very nice building and runs into this neurosurgeon, and like, you know, like it feels like a slightly well written Wattpad story
Yeah.
at best. But when I watched the movie, it felt the acting was so natural that it was like everything seemed natural and believable. Like I totally believed the connection between the characters.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think there were a lot of things that if I were to, like, if it was a different acting or if it was delivered in a different way, I'd have been like, oh, this would have never happened in
Yeah.
real life. But again, the way they delivered it, it was so well done. And again, this is great acting saving. The script wasn't bad, but like saving cliche ideas,
Yeah.
because even when she said what her name was
Yeah.
to Jocelyn Baldoni's character, she was like, "Oh, my name is Lily. My last name is Bloom, and guess what? I also have a flower shop." And it felt as if she was making fun of herself
Yeah.
before we even could have had the chance to make fun of
Yeah.
her. And that was so clever because otherwise we would have made fun of it. But since she made fun of it in the movie, we were like, okay, so they're aware
Yeah.
about how unrealistic and unbelievable all of this is, but they embraced it and they just turned it into, they delivered it well. So yeah.
How do we feel about Justin Baldoni, who directed this
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah.
I did not like his director debuts. I think he did like two. I watched one of his movies with Cole Sprouse.
What's the name of the movie?
It's
I think I know.
it's 5 feet apart.
Yes.
I'll insert it here. But
And the actress was also in Jane the Virgin, so
Yeah.
she was the side character.
Who?
The actress who was dating Cole Sprouse.
Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
also in Jane the Virgin.
Mhm.
Okay, now it makes sense. I didn't know he directed it.
He did direct that movie, and to me, it's just the easy route when you want to win someone's compassion, and so you use someone's sickness to get them to empathize with you.
Yeah.
But I did not like that movie. It wasn't my kind of movies, and
I watch it.
yeah, you did not miss out on anything. And I like this one so much better. And I'm always skeptic when it comes to male directors, because I've been traumatized by everything that Sam Levinson ever has ever done. He did Euphoria and
Oh, yeah.
Idol, and
I see it.
and so when it comes to rom-com and like describing a female experience, I'd rather see female directors do that. But I was gladly surprised by what Justin did.
I know Justin Baldoni is married and he has, I think, like two or
Yeah.
three girls, and he has a podcast about.
Does he?
Yeah, he has a podcast about men embracing their feminine side and about how what it's like to be a girl dad and all of that. So I do understand now why he did a good job in this. I think he's a feminist at heart, not in the negative way. I think the word feminist right now is not experiencing the best marketing. But yeah, I think I have a lot of respect towards this actor, and I also watched Jane the Virgin, the whole series. I loved it so much. I think it also had a great message behind it. So yeah, I think he did a great job, and I really liked his acting. Again, I
Same.
went into the movie not knowing if there was going to be any chemistry between him
Mhm.
and Blake, but I think he did a great job in both acting and directing.
I think that Justin, when he did Jane the Virgin, was the Serena of Jane the
Yes,
Virgin.
exactly.
And so when I saw Justin and Blake on screen, I was like, these are the two it's people, actors of their respective shows on screen, which, like, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
It's like having Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell on screen.
It totally makes sense, but
Yeah.
then it's also very questionable
Mm.
in different ways. Yeah, I really liked his acting. I think he did a great job. Um, I want to talk about his relationship with
With
Lily,
yeah.
like Riley and Lily. The whole movie, I think Lily was in a very difficult situation because
Mhm.
it would have been very hard to choose. I think her mother explained it best when she asked her why did she stay with her father, and she told her because I loved him.
Yeah.
And I think that movie really sheds the light on complicated relationship like this because a lot of people when seeing someone in an abusive relationship the first thing they would ask is why would they stay
Would you
together if
say
you know
yeah?
that this person is abusive. But in this movie what I loved is that the first few times when he was abusive, we didn't really understand. I personally did not understand the first time he hit her, like how it happened, because
It
they
was
cut
so
it.
fast.
It moved fast, they cut
Yeah.
it, they didn't show us everything, and kind of explains it. Like in real life, you don't get to rewatch something to understand how it
Mhm.
happens. And I think Lily was just not understanding about how it happened at first, and she was trying to justify that, oh, it was an accident the first
Yeah,
time.
and to gaslight herself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But then when it clicked to her, everything became more clear, and we as an audience saw more well how it happened,
Mhm.
how he hit her, how everything happened, and it's just it's a great movie to shed the light on relationship violence, and I think it's important. Like in this scenario, it was easier to visualize it because it was the woman who was the victim and the man who was um,
The abuser.
the abuser, but sometimes it also can go the other way around. And
Yeah, totally like the
yeah,
Natalie Portman movie.
yes,
And you don't even have to hit someone to be abusive. You could
exactly.
just do it by gaslighting them and just
Yeah,
by using psychological violence.
yeah.
And I totally agree with you. It's very important to shed a light on this because I feel like there will never be enough movies about this. Like,
Because
and
no story is similar to the other.
yeah,
Everybody experiences it in a very different way.
and what a great way to just tackle such a delicate topic,
Mhm.
like by using a TikTok famous book
Yeah,
that a lot of kids are a fan of, and that I'm pretty sure a lot of young people would watch this movie and they
yeah.
will just be aware of these signs that they would see in this movie.
What did you think about Lily's decision at the end of the movie? Like about how she dealt with the whole situation?
I think that she did what someone would ideally do in a perfect situation. You know, like she focused on her pregnancy and she took her time and she got a divorce and got back with someone who actually treats her right. But I don't think that it's as easy as they showed it. But there's also just so much that you can show in
Yeah.
an hour and a half movie. What did you think?
I all along I was very afraid of her going back to the
Mhm.
relationship, but I think if she did, I would have understood because
Mhm.
I think she was trying. In the movie, they justified it to us about why Justin's character was abusive, and it's because he had a traumatic experience as a kid. So naturally, you would think if Lily is this perfect person that they portray her to be in the movie, that's
Yeah.
probably what she would have done. But I think that her reaction to the whole thing was so much better. I think she handled it very well. Again, this is an ideal scenario
Yeah.
because I also expected Justin's character Riley to be like to get angry at Lily's like crush at
Mhm.
not crush or like old lover Atlas. I expected there to be violence in that part, but I also loved the fact that Lily did not after getting her divorce, she didn't go right away into a
Yeah.
relationship with Atlas. She waited for her daughter to get older and everything. And I think that's so mature because
Yeah.
jumping from one very toxic relationship to
To
another
another.
relationship, whether it's toxic or not, is not it's going to cause problems in different ways. So the
Totally.
fact that she took her time was great, and I loved how they showed that she took her time by portraying her daughter growing
Mm-hmm.
up. I also think it's great that they showed Riley's character, a neurosurgeon, fairly wealthy. She even mentioned in the movie that he's wealthy, very good looking. He's like this perfect guy, and yet he's abusive.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes to show that, you know, you never know what's hiding behind a couple's
Yeah.
relationship. And you never know why things happen. I'm pretty sure when she got the divorce, she didn't broadcast it that she got it
Mm-hmm.
because she was dating someone abusive. So it's a very good portrayal because it's easy to showcase someone who doesn't have their life together as being the abusive person, and then it makes total sense to leave that person at that point if there's so many things not working. But to show someone who fits all the criteria who's abusive, it shows the importance of
Mm-hmm.
not staying in a toxic relationship no matter what. So yeah.
I think that's the silver lining.
Yeah.
Yeah. um, I think that's it.
I think that covers it.
Yeah, because I don't want to add anything to everything that you just said because it was so beautifully résumé,
Yeah.
summarized. And yeah, we'll leave you guys with these beautiful thoughts.
Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you so much for watching, and please go watch this movie. It's a very important movie to watch, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.